Welcome to Literary Dialogs with Nina Serrano. I'm your host, Nina Serrano. My guest today is Johanna Ely. She is the author of 4 books of poetry: Transformations, Tides of the Heart, Poems for Benicia, Postcards from a Dream, and What Still Matters, her very newest book. She served as Poet Laureate of Benicia from 2016 to 2018. She was the winner of the 2022 Benicia Love Poetry Contest, and she is a board member of the Einar Kulbrith Circle of Poets, one of the oldest poetry groups in California. Johanna Ely's new book, What Still Matters, matters more than ever. It's a joy to read. The accessible 57 poems explore in strong, clear, yet evocative language life's everyday themes, from longing, nature, love, and dreams, to poetry itself. Welcome, Johanna Ely.
Thank you, Nina. It's great to be here, and thank you for letting me share my poetry with you and with others today.
Congratulations on your new book, What Still Matters. I know it's very important to you that it not end with a question mark. Could you comment on that?
When I first started writing these poems, it was in 2019, a year before the pandemic hit, and then the pandemic came and our lives changed. And as I was writing most of these poems, I was thinking to myself, what still matters? What still matters to me? What still matters to other people? And so this book is really about that.
So what still mattered through the pandemic?
For me, 4 major themes are in this book, and they're longing for the past, longing for better times in the future, and then nature, which is always important to me, love, and dreams. So those were the 4 themes, or those are the 4 themes that run through this book, and those are the themes that matter to me.
And those are all themes I associate with your poetry.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you read us some from What Still Matters?
Sure. I thought I'd read maybe a couple of poems from each section.
Good idea.
So I'm going to start with the section called I Want the Word, and it's the first poem in the book, and it's also called I Want the Word. I want the word tender to be the first word in a poem. I want a poem about tenderness. Tender rose petals, easily torn, tender wound, not yet healed, tender song, still unsung. Give the world tenderness, stroke hair, gently wipe away tears. Soon a sparrow will build a nest in your arms. A pine tree will teach you its language. A swallowtail will flutter in your hair. Have tender regard for the moon, how she seems to gaze down tenderly at your small, fragile body, sending you her light.
Lovely.
Thank you. Here's another poem from this section, this first section, and it's called Why I Keep Broken Things. I treasure what's broken, what isn't whole. Pieces of seashell, a cracked ceramic cup, a silver necklace missing a clasp, a book with torn pages. I keep the single turquoise earring, the black sock that no longer has a mate. Sometimes I think I should put what's been damaged or has a missing part in a large cardboard box, say a prayer, light a candle, then gently place the box in the trash. But no, I want to save these scraps of my imperfect life. Fragments of abalone shell from Mendocino, a chipped teacup from Kyoto, beautifully glazed, the tarnished necklace, a gift from a lover who died years ago. Sometimes a single sock finds a new mate. Two mismatched earrings make a lovely pair. How wonderful to keep the tattered book, its last 2 pages missing, knowing that whoever reads it will make up a new ending.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I too have mismatched and unmatched socks and earrings and broken this and that.
So let me think here. Would you like me to read from the next section?
Yes, please.
Of my book? Okay. So the next section is nature. I take a lot of walks. I go on a lot of walks in Benicia, and I'm always noticing things as I walk. And sometimes I take my camera and take photos and then go back and write about the things I see. But anyway, this poem was written in 2020, and it was when we had the terrible wildfires in California, and the air became really smoky with all the fires. So this is a poem called A Sky the Color of Oceans. The morning sky is a silent stone, smooth, dense, ashy gray. August fires harden the hazy light as the sun, a blood-red garnet, smolders above me. Smoke from charred trees, bones, and buildings stings my teary eyes. The metamorphic mix of burnt plastic and molten metal sears my lungs. I'm a child who has grown old and keeps asking, what's gone wrong? Remembering those summers when the sky was the color of oceans, puffy clouds rolling across turquoise water, gulls swooping down to touch lapis waves, the light bright, the air fresh. How when I looked up, I always thought it would stay that aqua blue forever. And of course it didn't. We don't have
And
that.
today we have bad air quality because of fires to the north.
That's right. Yes. I'm keeping all my windows and doors closed today. Another poem from the nature section is one about the light in autumn. And autumn is my favorite time of year. And partially because I love the quality of light. So this is called Ode to Golden Light. All afternoon, the light envelops me in its magnificent aura, whispers to me to return home and write a poem in my mustard yellow house, assures me that the stucco walls reflect the color of desert sand, ever shifting, changing, as the light grows larger, turning deeper gold, as the day becomes smaller and everything glows brighter than autumn's tawny leaves. The sun's spindly fingers spun into shining threads, connecting tree to leaf, bird to sky. While I look through a camera lens tinted the color of honeyed dreams, asking blindly, who holds this wondrous camera to my eye.
That's the kind of poetry I'm most familiar with, your nature poetry.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, that's actually the largest section in this book. I have the most poems in the nature section, which is called Dancing with the Trees. So the next section is love, and that's called A Flock of Magpies, and I'd like to read that poem. This poem is a retelling of a Chinese folk tale, and the folk tale is about two young people who fall in love, and one is a weaving girl and the other is a shepherd boy, and they ignore their duties and are punished for being too much in love, and so they're separated, and in the folk tale they become stars in the sky, and once a year they're allowed to see each other. So this is called A Flock of Magpies for Weaving Girl. When you looked at him across the Milky Way, it was love at first sight, no turning back. In that moment, you stopped weaving your father's shirts with threads of silver light, and your beloved no longer herded stars across vast skies of ancient constellations. You wanted the boy whose eyes were amber moons, made love with him in soft grasses light years away, forgot the passing of time, the unfinished shirts that no longer shone, the stars who, like dull cows, wandered off into fields of galaxy dust. Meeting each other only once a year was the punishment you suffered for your passionate spark. 7th month, 7th day, in the midnight darkness, you burn with longing, while a flock of magpies forms a bridge of wings over a river of stars. So the magpies would make a bridge so that the two lovers could meet once a year in the middle of the Milky Way.
Oh, that's reassuring.
It's a charming story, romantic.
Yes.
And then this is the other poem I'd like to read. It's called The Clean Swept Heart. To sweep the heart clean is not my desire. My birch broom, made of twigs and leaves, sweeps away fear and jealousy, but not love, not love. My heart chambers beat, pulse, while I sweep away the dust that settles on old friends. Let me feel them stir as the heart heaves one more sigh. As I sweep away the cobwebs the dead leave behind, let me hear their voices sing in my blood, my fingers sticky with silky strands of memory, my heart thumping their names.
That is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. So let's see, that brings us to the last section of the book, which is called Tossing the Sticks. This is also a love poem, but it actually won the 2022 Love Poetry Contest, the Benicia Love Poetry Contest. It won first place.
Actually, I think all your poems are love poems.
Oh, yeah, I guess you're right, Nina. Thank you. This is called Dreaming in the Time of the Pandemic. In my dreams, I've stopped searching for a refuge to protect me from death. Stopped trying to find an abandoned house laced with memories of wisteria, or a dark cave illuminated by candlelight, my silent poems written only for the petroglyphs. Now I dream with my eyes wide open, memorize the shape of every tree, the scent of roses bursting open in the heat of spring, the way the sunlight warms my body as I sit alone facing west. In my dreams, we hold up our hands and mirror each other, place palms and fingers together, promise we'll never stop touching.
Lovely, lovely.
Thank you. During the pandemic, I live next to a ballet studio, a children's ballet studio. And during the pandemic, they moved their studio outdoors and put it under a big white tent in the parking lot. And so sometimes I was able to get a glimpse into the tent and see all the little ballerinas dancing. And anyway, I wrote this poem. This is from the first section, which is I want the word, and the theme is longing. The ballet studio. Next door to my house, the ballet studio has an outdoor stage protected by a white tent. At night, the tent breathes in the wind, rustles and flaps like a restless swan dancing in the darkness. During the day, notes of classical music and old show tunes waft in through my bedroom windows. I hear the teacher snap her fingers, count the beats. I hear the thumps from landed leaps. Imagine young girls in black leotards doing a plie, bending at the knees, lifting arms above heads, fledglings learning to spread their wings, to land on a branch gracefully. A yearning rises up in me, a longing for another time when all that mattered was the dance. On Saturday mornings, I hear the teacher tell the 5-year-old dancers to pretend they are flinging flower petals in the air. It is autumn and the roses are in decline, but for the little ones, it's still spring. And they are blossoming ballerinas. How they must love to bend down and gather the invisible pink petals in their small rounded arms. I stand in my bedroom, scoop up wilted memories with my wrinkled hands, toss them clumsily towards the ceiling, not caring where they land. When the teacher plays, "Twinkle, twinkle, little star," my eyes tear up. I wish I was one of them, a little girl who still believes that when the music starts and the dancers twirl, everyone twinkles and shines.
Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And let's see here. So I have another poem. This poem is from the nature section, and it's called Dancing with the Trees. What if one day the trees in town uprooted themselves, miraculously moved towards the river in a spectacular procession, finally free to search for water after years of drought? What a sight that would be, their long, thick roots gliding down sidewalks, each tree leaving behind a trail of falling leaves, graceful branches swaying their Buddha arms in the air, long trunks creaking and groaning after being tethered to the ground since birth. As the trees pulled their roots out of the ground, people would be frightened, feeling the earth shake. Everyone would call to them, beg them to return, stumble into the gaping holes they'd left behind. I would follow the Japanese maple out of the garden, place my feet on its wizened roots, wrap my arms around its trunk, let it slow dance me to the river, the wind whistling an old love song.
Oh, I like that.
No, thank you. This is a poem I wrote after going on one of my walks.
What section is that?
It's also in the nature section. It's called The Shell. It is mid-July, and I'm walking on a trail that's as dry and cracked as an old man's hands. Yet blue sky shimmers above me, as if I am underwater looking up, the clouds long wavy wisps of breath. All around me is the voice of water. In the eucalyptus trees, I hear the whisper of a creek, while on the hill, orange butterflies are little fish who laugh and flutter downstream. I am protected in the womb of the afternoon as I swim through stalks of anise, those bright underwater suns, or admire artichoke flowers, the spiky purple fish who drift through ochre seagrass. Looking down, I find a white shell, a tiny boat filled with dirt instead of sand. I wonder if it remembers the smell of salt or tumbling in an ocean millions of years old. I pick it up as if it is a promise that someday water will return to cover this land again. And I, who believe in cycles, dream of a boat in the shape of a shell floating in a sea of stars.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
These are lovely.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah,
Nina.
I especially love the little ballerinas.
Yeah. Well, you have a little granddaughter that could very well be a little ballerina.
She's more a little acrobat.
Okay, yeah. So then going to the love section, this one is called Waiting for My Muse. And there's an epigraph. All you have to do is write one true sentence. Ernest Hemingway. I sit on a bench at the water's edge, waiting for you to walk by. On this cold winter morning, I imagine you wearing a black parka and a green wool beanie you pull down over your ears. The egret knows who you are. Your missing shadow hides in its snowy feathers. I confess my desire to see you to the marsh grasses. They sway back and forth in the sharp breeze, hearing your silent voice. I wait patiently all afternoon, search the gray clouds for your silver blue eyes, listen to the lonely cries of wild geese winging overhead. At twilight, before I walk home, an owl swoops down from the broken sky, a hint of your smile on its moon face. Tonight, I will dream of you again. You will come to me as I sleep and whisper that one true line, the one I will never remember.
Oh, I hope you do remember.
I never do. This is also a love poem, and it's called Light, Hope, and Love. Praise the light that comes early after the stars go out, before the first bird wakes and sings its joy to the setting moon. Praise the glimmer of hope we dream before dawn, when night casts its shadow along buildings and empty streets, in dark rooms where loneliness embraces those who cannot sleep. Praise love. It is the song that stays late, the candle that burns after the light is gone.
Very lovely.
Thank you. And this one is from the last section in the book, the section about dreams, and it's called Time of Poetry. In the beginning, when cloud people walked across a sienna clay sky, Cocopelli spun his poems on the desert mesas. In his sack, he carried creation stories, corn seeds, and unborn babies longing for a mother's kiss. His flute announced flying saucers in red rock sunsets. Twisting and turning down indigo canyons, he could change himself into a clever snake, a spiral of stars, a circular dream spinning on a sapphire river. The owl, the hawk, and the eagle dropped feathers in his honor. The earth, the sky, and the water sang his rain songs. It was a time of joy and enlightenment for all who listened. At twilight, the sound of his flute still drifts down the winding riverbed. Poems crooned by a trickster wind, the faint outline of a humpbacked shaman dancing on canyon walls.
Oh, I love it. A poem about Kokopelli.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I thought I'd finish with the last poem in the book, which is called Tossing the Sticks. Rising up from brackish water, the blustery wind is an old crone who tosses fortune sticks on the ground. She crouches over sun-baked dirt, lets broken marsh reeds fall from her twisted fingers, twirls and sings her incantations in gusty breaths. 5 smooth sticks of different sizes tossed on the ground like an open fan, delicate paper blown to dust, calligraphy and lotus blossoms gone. What divinations can be read by the way they land, or which direction they point? Which side tells the future? Side turned up to sky and sun, or side touching earth? These sticks weren't tossed for me, but here they are. What question should I ask the wind who tossed these sticks for the world? Thank you.
So thank you. I wondered if you realized as you were writing these poems that you were writing a description of what you experienced during the pandemic.
I did once I started putting the book together. When I was just writing each poem separately, no. But once I collected them together and put them in the book, and I realized there were 4 different themes going on, and I knew there was kind of this subtext of loss going on there in a way, along with the hopefulness. But yeah, I realized, oh my gosh, this is what I was thinking about during the pandemic. This is what I was experiencing. And this is what mattered to me during that time.
Well, most of those things still matter to you.
They do. They do. And if you ask me what still matters, I think I'd tell you everything does. So for sure. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that people will enjoy the book and that it will kind of make them think about, the things that matter in their lives too.
How might people get the book?
You can get it on Amazon.
So what still matters, and no question mark.
No question mark.
And you can get it through Amazon and hopefully at your local bookstore here in Vallejo and in Benicia.
Correct.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nina. It's been a pleasure.